Good morning, traders, and welcome to the Bookmap live trading webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap, and I'll be doing live forward-looking analysis here for this session. We do it every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, 10 a.m. And then we have live trading with Jay Trader, a stocks trader, on Wednesday, and Thursday we have Scott Pulcini, a futures trader. This is all part of the Bookmap education you're getting. It's free. We have an educational course. It's online. And then we have these webinars to go through that same order flow analysis in the live market, so you can apply what you've learned and then learn from other traders as well. Jay Trader and Scott Pulcini. Let's go through some disclosures and then we'll jump in. General disclosure: all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, we got that out of the way. Understand those, though. It's important what we're doing here. And then, guys, we've been covering all sorts of things recently about who's in control in the market. Is there any question this morning after or just before 9 o'clock? Okay, and then look at the cash open here as well. Okay, what does this pattern look like to everybody? Just throwing it out there. And what do you guys see here? In Discord, I think you guys can, yeah, you can hear me. So let me know here. I mean, we've been covering this and how important it is to understand order flow. And it's just screaming at us here. Aloha, Tony. And then I really encourage you to go back and watch some of the previous webinars. We can put this all together into a very cohesive and very powerful trading plan. Nothing? Nobody? All right. Pullback, impulse. Yeah, impulse, pullback, impulse. Yeah, exactly. Ben, and what exactly is that? Well, that would be a flag pattern. Exactly. So let's take a look. In fact, here, strong move. Here's our pullback, and then here's a strong move, and followed by another one. So basically, though, it's the second flag, or part of the flag is here, right, in the bigger picture. On this time frame, guys, I mean, this is such an incredible pattern. It's blaring at us here in the order flow. And then you can see it after 9:30, right in these areas here. I mean, we look for these. We look for higher lows in here, not too much selling down here. On the bid, interest, we got all of these things lined up in here. Once we start to get up here and we see those buyers yet again up here where there were previously buyers interested as well, we're looking for the breakout, and we're going to start to target higher liquidity. And you can look at your measured moves, your fibs, whatever it is you want to look at that point. But it's the liquidity is really kind of the key here. You can see we came shy of it here, or tested into it a little bit, and then it pulled back, and now it broke out. There's still more buying pressure. We're still looking for this to go higher. Okay, now it's not a trade recommendation. We're just looking at who's in control in the market, and we stay with that control until we see something different. Now, this is always, it's ever changing. It's like different pulls and pushes on the market all the time. One of them is right in front of us: high liquidity getting filled on the offer. These are sellers. They're staying in the order book. They're getting filled. It starts to take away some of the buying power that these aggressors have. The market buy green dots here. So that's when we start to really understand this context in here. Now, see how we just have less buying up here? Okay, buyers here, they broke a higher high, less buying. Okay, so let's see if we can just get a little bit of selling and come back down to this 11 and maybe back down to 08 now. Okay, we'd still be in an uptrend. Okay, now we don't know. Now if we return back up here and we get our buyers like this, we're looking for the breakout 18, 20. Where else? 25. Okay, so there's your plan right there. Okay, that was the context we just looked at in here, and we just covered it. You could already be out of contract, stop at break even, looking for higher. Okay, targeting 25. Maybe you even like got out some, got back in on a pullback. That would be very aggressive. You could, though. There's all sorts of ways to trade the order flow in here and look at it. And these are very high probability outcomes. Or, you know, it's just we're reading the order flow. We know who's in control, right? And we're going with that strength. Okay, so again, this is real time. We're reading it. It's this is in my mind, you know, a lot of times during these webinars, there's a lot of chop and we might get there here, you know, pretty soon. Right now, though, the direction is pretty clear. Okay, this is simple stuff. Now, trading's not easy, but when you get on the side of it here and you know what you're looking for, then you know you just let this run, just let it work, and look for your targets, take some off, manage your risk, move your stop up to break even, etc. Okay, this is exactly our goal in here with these webinars, to provide you very high level of education that is actionable, that you can put into a plan, that you can study. It's not a trade recommendation, it's not a trade room, but to understand the order flow in here in this context that we talk about all the time, and you can put this together into your plan, and we're still looking for it to go higher here. Now let's just take a step back though, and let's read the higher time frame, and we'll put this plan into perspective, and then we'll work our way into the current market here. Okay, so let's go look at our higher time frame candles here. This is Rhythmic R Trader Pro. We're just looking at a basic candlestick chart, very simple, and this is enough. We're just looking at a daily here on the left. Okay, well, obviously we're in a downtrend. You see these moves lower. Here's I don't know, last week, Friday the 14th here, you see the move down and then move right back up into the range here. Okay, this is rejection here, and we see back and forth in here, but we came back up into near these highs up here, but not enough buyers to want to take it higher. All right, so on the daily chart, today's daily candle, let's just take a look at the 3-month. All right, so here we go, and we see the move up into these areas here, and then the pullback, and right now we're getting a pretty strong move. Okay, on the daily chart. So where might it go next? Well, we'd be looking for maybe 37.45 or 40 up in here. If there's enough, then we're looking for 71 or 59 to 71 up in here. We're looking for where there were previously sellers. Okay, that's what we're looking for here. Now we don't know, but we know right now this is a pretty strong move. All right, so let's move on. That's what we see here on the daily, and for just today's action, though. Okay, in the context of the bigger picture, it still looks like a pullback. Now on the hourly chart here, in the middle, right? Well, here's that 14th of the day here. We opened up down here, right here. It went south a little bit, and then it went right back up. Very, very strong, powerful move. This was actually last Thursday when Scott Pulcini was speaking, and the ECB had some news that came out, and then look at the beautiful pullback here, guys. Beautiful pullback all the way back to this activity in here, and then we see the gap open. This was Friday, and then here's where it opened up on Sunday or Monday, Sunday evening, Monday. And then look at the a gap again up in here. I'm sorry, this is Sunday, and then here's the gap up Monday, it looks like. Something like that. And now we're seeing the move here on this hourly chart to go revisit these areas up in here. All right, now that's the hourly. Okay, so we see pretty strong hour candle previously, and then right now this new hour, which we got about 12 minutes into or 10 minutes into, right now it's starting to kind of slow down a little bit. All right, that's what's going on the hourly. Let's look at the 15-minute chart here on the right hand side. These are the strong moves we're identifying. Okay, now there's a strong move here to the downside too. Okay, some back and forth in here. The move down, rejection down here, buying pressure. Guys, I mean, you have to, it's really kind of funny. It kind of cracks me up. We have to name this as the wick, and we have to say it's buying pressure, and therefore it has meaning behind it, etc., because we don't have the visualization of it we just know that, oh, okay, well, that means buying pressure, a wick in a candlestick. It's because we can't see all of this in here in Bookmap in the higher time frame charts. Okay, it just doesn't exist, right? So then let's take a look at the buying that came in here, and then the move higher, and then why we would start to look for some profit taking up here. Okay, because this is where we have the sellers coming in and move it away from this area up here. That was yesterday. Okay, so it makes sense that we have a strong move up into this area here, and we're having a bit of a pullback right now. Okay, and maybe we just chop around in here for the rest of the day. Maybe we come back down and revisit here at 86. We don't know. We just know this was a strong move. We're looking for a continuation, and we're looking for up in here some profit taking, and then we'll take a look and see what else is happening in the order flow. Okay, this is order flow here we're looking at. We're talking about strong moves, consolidations, breakouts from those areas, and price exploration into other areas like this up here. Now we're going to outline these strong moves. We can see it here, and then we're looking for what's going to happen next, okay, up in these areas in here. All right, so we're going to take the same process here of looking at these strong moves and breakouts, consolidations, and then applying the same idea to the order flow chart, because this is order flow here too. It's just not very transparent. Okay, we're not getting a lot out of it. We just know ranges and breakouts, etc. So let's take a look over here at Bookmap. Now we're getting the full picture right here. Let me put stops and icebergs on here. Why do I have just CVD? Okay. Well, there's no question. Look at the bid first off. From right here around 8:15 onwards, there was pretty high liquidity down here around 35, and look at them bid up. Okay, this is what we can gain from understanding the order book in here in Bookmap, and we see the reaction. Now this is obviously hindsight, but we see this again and again and again, and just picture this here and put it into the auction process. Okay, that there are buyers interested in buying ahead of this 35 level here. Now, once we start to see those aggressive buyers come in here and start to break some of these previous areas where it was going back and forth, we're looking for it to test back up into this area here, this structure. Okay, or we look for high liquidity as well. Well, maybe up here there's some high liquidity here, there's some in these areas here, but the best is up here or here. All right, so anyway, we went back and forth in here for a bit. We had the cash open, and then we see them take it here, and we break out and continue on up into high liquidity. Okay, so and then we got the tail end of this one here, looking for it to continue, right, back up into 25. All right, so it was somewhere around in here when we here's when we started the webinar at 10, and then we started to look at it, and here we're looking for the breakout. We're looking for up into 20 and then maybe 25 here. Okay, we went through the scenarios right in here and understanding it. It's like, okay, well, here's the retest, not too many buyers here. If we get sellers down here, then we're looking for this area down here at 08 and then maybe even below. Okay, from this view here, we come back up, we make a higher low, we come back up, we start to see that buying. This is when it's telling us it, more probable move is to the upside here, based on the order flow, based on the aggressors in here. They're buying again at the top edge here. We're looking for it to break. We're looking for it to explore and test into this high liquidity here and here, okay, at 18 and then at 20, right? And we stay with this until we see something different. So we look for 25 as the next one. You take some off at 18 or 20. I think we said 20. Move your stop to break even. You were never even come close to getting touched here. Okay, even if you got in here at, like, let's say this is 16 and a half. Let's say you got in at 16 and a half. Didn't even come close. Okay, it would have been a very easy trade. But you're just reading the participants in the orders, by the orders, okay, by the aggressors, by the buying pressure into these areas in here, and then we wait and see, okay, what happens after this event in here. Well, we found more buyers up here. There's still more aggressive buyers than there is limit sell orders here. We're still looking for them to come up and test into this area here. Okay, it went back and forth for a bit, and then it did it. Right, and then you manage your trade based on what's going on in here. Okay, so I would have been out half, probably here at 20, and full here at 25. I'd be looking for other entries for continuation. Okay, now here, this scenario here, okay, buyers, that's good, back and forth in here. Not too many buyers here, a little bit here. Okay, but not too many sellers here. Okay, now we can go, this is all fractal, so we can look at this in here. Okay, some sellers here, more sellers here, and then a little bit more in here. And once we start to see it, it's not a good example here, but once we start to see those sellers come in here at the bottom edge again, okay, we're looking for these levels here, back to 20, basically, this liquidity here. Okay, and it did. Right, so this is the scenarios that we go through by understanding the order flow. Okay, we came back up here, we didn't even make an equal high, and we didn't find the buyers that we're looking for like we were on that previous one down here. Okay, we saw lots of buyers here. This is where we're like, hold on, wait a minute, let's take a look here. If we get our sellers come in these areas in here, and then down in here, we're looking for 08. Okay, that scenario did not unfold. We came back up here, we got our buyers, we're looking for the pop. All right, now there's a lot of momentum in this move. A lot of times what we want to see is the bid underneath be strong as well, and these guys to pull liquidity here on the offer. Okay, they pulled a little bit here at 17, at 18 they stayed, and then at 20 they stayed in the book too. Okay, and look how it behaved in here. Look at the order flow. Okay, it traded into it here. It pulled back to where it broke out from, into these areas here. We don't find sellers here, not many. Okay, this is a low volume pullback. We come back up here, chops around a little bit, we're starting to find buyers again. Okay, so we're starting to understand the structure here, the aggressors within that structure, and also the liquidity in here. Okay, and then we'll come back up. We find those buyers yet again here, and look for the next level of high liquidity up here. And we talked about it in real time, guys. So just going through these scenarios and reviewing to go through this again. This is such a simple reading of order flow, but just so powerful. You don't have to worry about all sorts of other ways of reading candlestick patterns or Fibonacci levels and like Gann waves or like Elliott waves or all these things. You just need to know the order flow. And we don't have to make up names for this kind of stuff in here. Volume profile, all these things, initial balances. We don't have to make up any names in here. We just look at the order flow. Okay, who's in control? That's it. I mean, for example, the initial balance. Let's just take that for an example. It just means like the first hour of trading, which has the majority of trades, right? If we look at it here, look at the what they call here. We can maybe it's better look at the 15-minute chart here. Okay, here is the opening. This is the afternoon, and here's the close. This is called the volume smile. Okay, so initial balance just means in the beginning of the cash session, the majority of the volume. Where is it? What are the highs and lows of all of that transactions? What does that equate to? Very, very simply, it equates to order flow, meaning a lot of traders are transacting at that time. That's it. That's all it means. So if a lot of traders are transacting at that time, we want to understand what's going on. Who's in control during that time? Okay, so let's take an example. Let's take a smaller example of that. Okay, so we can go to any time frame in here and take the same example. Okay, it's the same as this here. Or this here. Let's just take the whole move here. All right, so lots of traders. This is like a mini initial balance. Let's mark it up here and here. Okay, so we're looking for the break of this zone in here, and it's just breaking it now. All right, great. So now we get a lot of sellers down here. Yeah, we are. All right, so then maybe this creates a new zone. This is a break of a balance area here, and now we're seeing sellers come in. Look at the offer. Okay, let's see if we can come right back down to 08 and retest 08 or come back to 08 and the low here. Okay, and there it is. You could have gotten in here, take some off. So what, around 11 to 08, there's 3 points, and you could still be in this. Okay, is that clear? Do you guys understand that? Instead of having to understand just this terminology, initial balance, or a terminology of Elliott third wave, or whatever it is, you don't have to know all that stuff. Or an engulfing pattern. An engulfing pattern is an order flow event as well. You just need to understand who's in control and what would happen after some of those areas. Now, this is a really, really good example here. Okay, so this is a lot of traders, a lot of transactions in here. Okay, and then now we're seeing them move it away from that level here. Okay, if there was not enough sellers in here, we still had some buying activity in here, we would likely chop around in here for a while. Okay, but we broke it, we retested back. This too is a low volume pullback here. More sellers than there are buyers, right back to this zone and this level. Continuation. Okay, we talked about taking some off right in here 11, taking some off at 08, and then boy, if you held this, you know, you're doing just great. Again, these aren't trade recommendations. We're just going through what is going on in the order flow, and then starting to understand that, and then starting to wrap some a trade management around some of those levels. All right, guys. So let me get to some of these questions in here. So Ben, yeah, that was great. Impulse, pullback, impulse, beautiful. Let's see, rare. Can I show? And let me see. I'm not showing my video. Is that was one part here? So hold on. Hey, there I am. All right. Let's see. Can you edit and place? Yeah, you can edit the rectangles, no problem. Basically, you'll need to. There's a few different ways to do this and get kind of accustomed to the drawing tools, but you click here and you'd have to go to edit mode here. Okay, you can put in shortcuts as well. I've put a bunch of shortcuts in here, but you need to go into edit mode, then click on the drawing, and now it has the control handles, right? And then you can move it around, whatever you want to do. Okay, you want to resize it, you want to delete it, hit the delete button on your keyboard. Okay. I hope that answers your question. Paris, nice to see you. Let's see, how much of this price movement do you attribute to OPEX? I don't know, and I don't even know if I care. I mean, all I care about is like what is going on in here in the transactions, and also the order book in here, to understand that context between the two. That's it. Now, because we do have options expiration and also monthly futures expiration, a lot of times the order flow can be look weird, or be a little odd. Like for example, let's take a look at crude. Okay, so crude looks a little odd in here. This is the new contract, the Z contract. It rolled over. It looks a little odd because it rolled over. All right, so the behavior of traders in here is something a little different than normal, and that's due to the rollover. So the same applies to OPEX, Paris, if that makes sense. Okay, so a lot of times during the quarterly rollovers for the stock indexes, it can be very, very tricky to trade. I know a lot of traders don't trade during that week or those few days because they don't see an edge, right? They can't understand the behavior of the traders because they're doing something very different, right? And that's what order flow is all about. It's all about the behavior of the players in the market, and we're visualizing it in here. And then we also have the stocks and icebergs, which visualizes very specific players using these types of orders here. Smaller retail traders getting stopped out with their stops, and then larger players that could be hedge funds, could be institutions, could be just larger individuals who have a lot of money, who don't want to show their size in the order book, and they'll use iceberg orders. Okay, and we have that behavior in here too. All right. Okay, Milton, how do you interpret stops and icebergs? Okay, yeah, good question. The way we look at stops and icebergs is to, and guys, I should have gone through and outlined who's in control now, right? In this smaller time frame. And this is actually, we'll get to the stops and icebergs in a minute. I do want to spend some time on this and just how important it is, because we started with this higher time frame, and we started to look for some profit. First off, we're bullish, no question about it, right? Very strong moves. We went through the higher time frame and said, okay, there should probably be some profit taking up here, and maybe we will come down and revisit some of these levels here. Right, and that's what's actually playing out right now, and we had our reasons for it too. by understanding the behavior and the order flow on these 3 different time frames up here: daily, hourly, and 15-minute. And then we look for some of these areas to retest. Like we'd still be looking for them to retest back down here about 86, right? So but we don't know. We'll have to, you know, read it in here. I mean, maybe they test down to a little bit lower here around 90, you know, 36.90 or so, and start to understand the players in this area in here, and the retest down into that area. All right. So anyway, we started there, okay, and then we started here, and there was no question about it. Like, you know, very, very strong move, followed by a pullback and a very, very strong move again, and then we started to look for sellers starting to come in. We actually started to see if we can get them in here. We didn't. We saw the buyers. We're looking for 20 and 25, and then we started to notice the behavior of the sellers and the buyers up in here, and the potential for the move lower. And then we even covered that example in here about the kind of initial balance, or just a lot of trading activity. Okay, so a lot of trading activity on the sell side has now occurred over here. Okay, so let's start to mark these areas up. All right, and so now now we're starting to get into some of the fractals in the marketplace. Okay, so we can make this probably a little bit higher in here. All right, so and we're bouncing around. Now look at the buyers in here, and they broke this little structure, okay, right in here. Okay, so and they're just retesting it here. Okay, now they just made a lower high here. More sellers are down here. Okay, all right, so we're kind of in a little fractal of this stronger move to the downside, right? So we're trying to read who's in control, who's going to take control here. And it looks like we got some sellers coming in. Okay, I don't trust it yet, or don't like it yet. We're just I don't see the commitment of the sellers down here. So, you know, doing nothing. Okay, if I do get that big red dot down here, I'm looking for them to try to trade into 91 and 90. Here we go. All right, see, look at the exhaustion up here. Okay, there's not a whole lot of buying. Okay, now that's our clue to looking for the next step. Sellers here. Okay, here they come. We're looking for them to take it down into 92, 91, 90. Okay, just to test down into these areas in here. Okay, now we're just at the bottom of the range, actually. So I need to back up and say, you know, pull this in a little bit here, because yeah, we are looking for the sellers down here. We're still in the range though, right? This is important to understand. So on a smaller time frame, it's like this would be your profit, would be here, your profit taking. On the higher time frame, you're looking for this sellers down here to break it into these lower areas here. Okay, does that make sense? Because we always talk about the ranges in here, and then here's our bigger break, right? Here's our bigger break, right? So now there's our commitment by the sell side. All right, so anyway, the breakdown to retest the bottom of the range here, that's looking pretty good based on the order flow in here. Okay, now see how we moved away from all of this buying in here. All right, so we can mark up another one in here. Okay, we can mark up lines on that too. Okay, now it gets a little dicey in here because of the ranges, etc., like I was saying, but sellers are in control in this time frame here. Okay, now let's go through the scenarios. What ifs? Okay, what if we get buyers back up here at 95? A lot of buying. What if the order book shows a lot on the bid? What if they're pulling on the offer? That's the order flow, or that's the traders telling us something in here. Okay, we would look for commitment on the buy side to trade back up into 97 and maybe up into 1.5 or 02 up here. Okay, that would be scenario 2 actually. Scenario 1 is continuation, which is unfolding right in front of us, because these guys are in control. Okay, even on this fractal move in here, they are still in control. And then here's, we didn't get buyers up in here. We started to get sellers down here. We'd be looking for them to trade into 90, and then, you know, they just broke it. We're looking for 85. Okay, now, where are we going? Let's zoom out. Let's look left, and we're testing the bottom of this little range here. Okay, 86. We're at 86. Still like to, you know, have it come down to about 80 right here. Let's mark up a line. Okay, this is kind of where it broke out from, and there was liquidity and transactions here. Might even go a little bit lower. You know, 75, somewhere around in here between 80 and 75. I'll just mark it up. But no, in fact, I don't want so many lines on here. Just we're trying to make a point here. Okay, so let's go back and let's take a look here. Okay, 15-minute chart. Well, there's our move. All right, so actually on the 15-minute chart, I would look for some profit taking here, okay, by these sellers, and we're going to get a little bit of a bounce out of here. All right, I would look for that, okay, based on this chart here. Now let's jump over to Bookmap, and we don't really see that too much here in Bookmap. We just see, yeah, we see this around 89 here, or 88. And then some of these areas in here still around, yeah, 86 or so. That's where we're looking for this to come. Okay, and now we're starting to get the bounce, and we're coming back up into where it dropped from, right in here. Okay, now let's look and read buyers versus sellers here. Okay, so, and let's dim the heat map a bunch here. Okay, there's still, well, it looks pretty equal. In fact, let's gauge it here. Okay, we can look at CVD to gauge buyers versus sellers in here. Let's take off stops for a minute. Okay, so here to here, there's still more sellers than buyers. Still more sellers than buyers. Okay, but it's not bad on the buy side. You can see that the buying pressure, right, versus the sellers. So it's not bad, but we'd still look for, you know, downside moves basically, at least down to where they broke out from here, and we're already there. And let's see if we can get enough sellers to continue on. Now, that's scenario number 1. Scenario number 2, because we're looking at our higher time frame levels, right? What if we get our buyers back up here around our 95-ish level here, 94, 95, somewhere around in here, okay, where these buyers or these sellers came in and took control and moved the market lower. Okay, well, low volume pullback or not, it doesn't matter if we get size up here on the buy side. Okay, and here we go. Let's see if they can do it. Looking for the scenario here is this. We're looking for a lot of buyers up here, 93. We want to see the bid light up as well. We want to see the offer pull. Let's brighten this up a little bit, and then we can come up to 3,700, the figure. Okay, or, you know, some of these previous areas here. All right, so let's see if we get them here. Now look how it's dark in here. Just, I don't like it. Like it, I'm not seeing that bid, that strong bid here. This is where sellers can easily move it right back down into these lower levels, and they are still in control. Okay, so we don't have all of the pieces of the puzzle here in the order flow. We're looking for that possible scenario, and it didn't unfold. Okay, so how do you take this, or how do you put this into meaningful action? Well, you do nothing, or you could even do a range bound trade potentially. It's not, these are not trade recommendations, but you know, if you don't see it in here, then you can look for these kind of moves back down here. Okay, now we're back up, and the bid's starting to show a little bit more, but I'm just not, you know, I'm not seeing it yet. Okay, really want to see something distinct. Okay, now they came back up here and retested. Now they're doing it again. Let's just watch this here. Okay, now it has potential here to come back up into 3,700. Yeah, I'm not seeing it yet. I mean, we're getting kind of slightly higher highs in here. Okay, I just not seeing it yet. Okay, so I'm doing nothing basically. If all of the pieces in the order flow aren't here, it's just not as high probability. I like seeing the buying up here. It has the potential to come up into 3,700. Okay, but it's just not as convincing here. All right, now we can look at another scenario where basically where sellers are in control up here, right? And you can look for sellers down here at 90, and then maybe take some off down at 87, and then maybe even look for continuation down into this swing and this liquidity here at 83. All right. Okay, so here's our breakout. Now this may fail. We don't know. It's shaping up to be a nice little flag pattern here. Buyers, pull back, buyers, and then 3,700. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, this to me is, you know, in my trading plan, this is no action here. Let me get to these questions, guys. I'm sorry about not getting to the questions here. I will get to it here. Gambler KKK, welcome. You're from Korea. Okay. You're recommended by a friend. Welcome. Okay, Milton, back to stops and icebergs, interpreting that. So guys, this is failing here. We're back in the range, right? Back into these sellers in control here. Okay, so it's kind of all over the place here. I'm still not seeing it now. If we do see our sellers back down here, it looks pretty good. It means now we can get into stops and icebergs in here. Milton, this is what I'd be looking for. If we get sellers down here and we see that offer light up, the bids start to pull, I'm looking for all of these buyers here to be sellers down in here below 89, down into maybe like 83, and it should be a beautiful stop run. Okay, I would be looking for that. Okay, that's how, and basically we're kind of looking for the stop run to unfold. It hasn't unfolded yet, and we're anticipating a stop run. It's not how to use it. It's just what we think is likely going to happen underneath here, and we'll confirm it. But how we get something more out of stops and icebergs? Well, this is not a bad example right in here. In fact, okay, this is a big stop run down here. Okay, let's just take a look at it. Okay, there we go. Yeah, pretty big one. Yeah, so like 600 down there, right? So now we can start to interpret stops. Let me put it on the chart. Okay, sorry about this, guys, because we're getting some good stuff right here. It's really back and forth in here right now, but we'll take a look here at the on chart icebergs and start to interpret the action and then put it into something meaningful here. Okay, so this here was a big stop run. All right, so if that's a big stop run, we got to understand the order flow again into this area here. Wow, big stop run. That's people exiting, not entering the market. So, you know, having buying pressure start to come in maybe makes some good sense. Okay, now we'll start to look at what about all the buying that came in here, and if they fail to move the market, watch this. we'll see sellers come in here, and we'd still look for another stop run to the downside, because all of this buying in here is going to be selling down below. Right, here we go. Let's see here if buyers are starting to come in, and they're going to start to try to take control above here, right? They're coming back up. Looks pretty good now to finally get to 3,700. Okay, because we saw the buying in here, then it's all over the place. Sellers in here, our beautiful little pivot, in fact, here around 94. Buyers above it, sellers below it, retest back and forth in here. But now we're seeing buyers back up here again and interest up here, okay, where there previously was interest as well. More likely, we're going to see it retest back up into some of these areas here, okay, 3,700. Okay, because that's where the liquidity is, right? And that's where the first stop would be for that buying pressure to meet some supply. The most of the supply would be up there. Okay, so Milton, I'm hoping I'm answering your question there a bit and understanding stops here. Now, icebergs is actually pretty nice in here too. Look at this context here. This is why we have it as two lines, you see a beautiful context in here. There's iceberg buying in here, so over 600 or so, they are basically, this market is puking, and the icebergs are gobbling it up on the other side. I know that's kind of graphic, but the concept is this, where retail traders are getting out, more astute traders are getting in and finding value here. Okay, so here's our move, guys, up into 3,700. It did pull back, and now we're clearly above this control level here by the selling. And we had, this control volume by the selling was kind of in question once we start to understand stops in here. Okay, does that make sense, Milton? We can see how we're putting these pieces together with additional information with stops and icebergs. Okay, and beautiful context in there. Okay, that's it. There's way more to go over. It's a great question, but this is just one way to look at it here. Now let's see. Let's take a look here at the order flow now. Okay, yeah, a test up into here should happen, and then also here we're looking for the next test up into here, where we marked up the selling taking control, right, up into here. Okay, and let's just mark that up here as well with a line right there. Okay, so at 37.10. We also have this one here, this other little area that we marked up here. Okay, let's just mark that up too. Now, we're getting a lot of lines in here, but basically, I don't want to look at this line here. I want it. In fact, let's just do this. Hold on. Okay, so basically I want this line here to start here. Okay, I don't care about anything else to the left. Okay, and it's already tested it. Okay, so and then this line up here, in fact, I think from what I recall, I don't care about anything here either, except for once it began here. Okay. So here, and that would be 37.10. Okay, and then if this is a reversal pattern, well, then this is the easy trade here. 01 on up to about 10. Okay, if it can break out from here. So we're looking for the order flow now. If this is that reversal pattern, that's what we'd be looking for. And now, let's see. Okay, let's start to look for buying pressure here, and then a nice little pop up into here. And let's add a little bit more analysis here for potential pullbacks, where they might come, where there is a demand, okay, where traders might come in. Okay, we've talked about this a lot of times here. If this is the reversal, and then we're looking for it to unfold, then we're looking for buyers to take the second leg here. It's basically done leg 1 here. Now we're looking for leg 2 and the move up here to 10. Okay, look at the icebergs on the other side. So a lot of icebergs here already, like maybe they're taking profit from down in here. We don't know, but we know they're selling there. Okay, so this again will give you maybe some insight in here. Okay, now this is, we just know there's some larger players in here. Okay, but we're still looking for the order flow event to unfold. And now maybe it's a false breakout. What would that look like? Okay, so above our levels in here, and then we're looking for sellers to come in around here, 01, and then take it back down into the figure, and then 98, maybe all the way back down to 90. 96 looks pretty good too. Okay, so different scenarios. Now, and what I was talking about earlier in terms of like the easy trade, it just basically it's like Wyckoff with just distribution, accumulation, markup, markdown. Well, this would be accumulation, and then we're looking for markup. The markups, once we catch a markup, it's I find it to be much more straightforward and much easier. Okay, you just stay in the trade. And that's when we started this webinar. That's what we witnessed in here. It's like these are easy, much easier. Okay, trading's very challenging, very difficult. It's simple stuff, but there's so many other things, emotions and fears and all sorts of other things that come along with it. But we're looking for something high probability, and then we go through these different scenarios in here to look for that scenario to unfold. So right now we're looking to see if we can get a reversal pattern and continuation on up here. It hasn't gotten to that leg 2 yet, and we're looking for it. Okay, so looks pretty good. I still like it here. We're bouncing off of here. We're starting to find some buyers in here. Okay, again, into iceberg order. I don't like that, so that's not helping. Okay, but if we get enough buyers in here, I don't care about the icebergs as much, okay, unless they absorb all of it. So we're looking for, again, buyers up here, and then we're looking for our markup period. Okay, and it would come up into about 10. Okay, liquidity coming in here at 8 as well. You can see that. Okay, here we go. Let's see if we can get our markup period in here. Accumulation, and then and what does this pattern look like, guys, down here? Sorry, guys, I've been just talking, and I've been on a little bit of a rant. It's Top Gun. Okay, so yeah, they pulled liquidity. Yeah, Paris, I was talking about quad witching before. See, and look at this up here. We still don't know, right? We're looking for it, but this is not, you know, this is where it's not easy. Okay, once we see it start to unfold, then it's easy. But see how this is just not easy. Okay, because we haven't finished. We don't know if this is kind of or you know, a move lower, and then like maybe it's I'm sorry, distribution, and then we're looking for continuation. Okay, now it's starting to look pretty nice actually for that to unfold. Look at the selling down here at the bottom edge. Okay, but we're not there. Sellers don't have control here, not yet. Okay, now they're starting to come in. Now see how they're starting to move it away from this area in here, trying to. I'll really like this if we come back up to here, 01, 02, or 02 or 03, and we see a lot of buying. Okay, because we'll have our stop run back up into here, and then we look for that continuation. Okay, or markup period. Right now, we're not getting that at all. In fact, it's the opposite. I'll cover this pattern here in a minute, but we see it all the time as well. Okay, so we see some sort of reversal pattern starting to take shape. We get leg 1, leg 2 fails, then we look for the continuation move to the downside. Okay, so we've been covering it for years, and it can't do the leg 2. It can't do the markup period. The bubbles are indicating these are delta bubbles, volume bubbles, so buy minus sell, Ben. But it's very simple. These are just the market buy and market sell orders. That's it. David, the cumulative volume delta on TOS platform, you can't get any movement, just a flat line. I don't know. Play around with the settings, come up to studies configuration here, cumulative volume delta. Maybe you have a filter in here. You know, clear everything, and you know, see what you get. Go back to reset the whole thing. I would imagine that's probably what it is. All right, guys. Yeah, looking for sellers to continue on down to 90 here. This is the, you know, I thought a little bit easier here of a move. Once we start to understand like who's taking control here, and now we're looking for a mark down period. Okay, into 90. There's 90 already. Looking for continuation now. Back down to 87 and a half, and then also 82. All right. These are easier trades. Okay, this is where it was difficult. Once we see this and we see that sellers down here, this is our leg 2. Here's our leg 2. This is why we covered earlier in the week. It was 1 week ago. We're talking about who's in control in flag patterns, and I think maybe it was Tuesday and Monday and Tuesday of last week. We were talking about marking up just starting very simply who's in control and moves. Okay, and then that can be extrapolated out on all time frames, and that's all you need to know. Potentially it depends on what you know, what you want to what's more comfortable with you. But if you're like, you love your Fibonacci's or you love your floor trader pivots or whatever, I would just recommend looking at the order flow around those areas. All right, so let's see. Look at the bid. See how the bid is pretty strong in here. Let's zoom out again. Let's look at our higher time frame, not only in Bookmap, but on our 15-minute chart. Okay, it's a lot of selling that just came in. Okay, from the figure on down. Okay, previously we're looking for more buyers. Okay, and this was a little mini, you know, head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders here, and we're looking for continuation pattern, right, or markup period, and then we're looking for that second leg. That's what failed, and we see the sellers come in. very clearly. You can see the trend lines. Once we see, here's leg one, here's the pullback. Leg two, we saw the sellers again here. Leg two up here, we saw buyers up here, but we didn't like it, right? We talked about it several times, throughout this process in here. It's not bad, actually. It's not bad, but failed to go higher. We started to note some icebergs, but this is a confluence in here, and then once we start to see the direction and the pull away from this area in here, you see it here. Here's the pullback. Here we go again. This is where we started to note something. Okay, we noted that we're looking for this kind of lower area in here, and then once we saw it in here again, that's when we're looking for the follow through. So leg one, pullback, leg two, and then push on lower. Okay, and beautiful move. Okay, so it all starts with identifying who's in control. Okay, in here and in here, and look at these very paltry pullbacks in here. Okay, and then we're looking for, again, a break of that area in here once we start to see the seller. So continuation, leg two. So basically here is your distribution, and then this is your markdown. Okay, and it's still searching. Okay, look at this move here. There's 80. Okay, this is another, I mean, once we start to see that really pick up in here, you're looking for it to trade into this high liquidity in here. This is moving pretty quickly right now. Beautiful stop run as well here, and look at who's on the other side here. All right, so this is again another puke, right? It's really flushed out the buyers up in these higher areas here, and look who's on the other side. All right, so that's a context again. Get back to Milton's question. All right, so how do we read this? How do we put this into perspective? Well, we understand what the order flow is in here. Now, not all of these are stops, right? But here's the context. Okay, first off, without stops and icebergs, the context is this: there's high liquidity on the bid here. It's getting filled. Okay, now we also know that there's a lot of traders in here getting stopped out. Okay, that's it right here. It's quite a big move here. Here's 646, and here's another 37 here. I think it's more than that. It looks like it's almost like 800 or so. I have it filtered in here on the on chart, so I don't want to see every single one, but I'm sure it's filtered out some smaller ones. All right, so now what do we know then? Our context is, yeah, sellers in control, true, here. All right, however, high liquidity on the bid after this distribution markdown period. Okay, we could look for the scenario of buyers back up above here. Okay, and because we know there's a lot of stops in here, we know there's a lot of icebergs buying in here. Okay, they're likely covering from up in here. We don't know that though, but we can go through the scenarios though. Right now, if there's more sellers back down here though, we can still look for continuation. All right, this is a low volume pullback here. All right, but it's this range now that we're looking at here. Okay, and we also have this context here. Okay, stops and icebergs. What we need to see though is the buyers back up in here. Now, if you start to see buyers already starting to kind of come in here at like 80, 82, let's say, okay, and a lack of selling down here, or buyers in here, a strong bid here, you can even just trade it back up to the top of the range for a small scalp. Okay, but you got to get the buyers up here. Okay, and it's got to look good. It can't be dark like this underneath here, because the sellers can come in and whip it right back down. Okay, but anyway, the concept is to look for those buyers up here, look for them to trade it back up here. Then you take some off, and you can look for the continuation back up into here if this larger play is going to play out. Okay, guys, we're going through all sorts of stuff today. Then the move would be, you know, top of the range here. Now we're looking for buyers to break it out of this range here. Okay, and then this would be like a mini flag pattern in here too. Okay, something like that. Okay, what's the likelihood of it? I don't know. This is why, like, just taking it to the top of the range and then, you know, getting stopped out at break even, or maybe taking all your profit on some of these smaller moves. You know, more probably a better idea, because we're looking for the if we can get our buyers back up in here, they should test up at the top of the range for all the reasons we mentioned. You know, this is kind of we see that relationship with stops and icebergs. So Milton, that should answer again your question on understanding this context in here and how to gain a bit of an edge off of that. Nice edge off of that. Again, it's just basically uncovering a lot more in the order flow. It's the actual order types, and due to the order types, we can understand who's using them. Okay, larger players are using icebergs, smaller players are using stops. All right, I'm going to put a poll in. Actually, I'm very curious about this. Okay, all right, guys, can't wait. Please tell me, do you use iceberg orders? Yes or no? This should help us discern a little bit here. Put some meaning on this. I don't even know how you'd use it if you'd want to. Yeah, I mean, we're so small compared to these larger players, right? Micro player. You're not using icebergs on your micros. Okay. Guys, looking pretty good here. Again, look at the order flow in here. But now, you know, I don't like that it's dark in here, but I do like the volume. That we see the buyers up here, and we had kind of a not too many sellers here, and buyers back up here again. Okay, and it's a higher low. But yeah, I take that off the table though, because like it is dark in here. They're not on the bid. It's just coming up and retesting back up to the top here. But this we do look for, right? If we look at this kind of structure in here, right? Buyers up in here. Let's make the dots a little bit bigger. Yeah, you know, see that kind of imbalance here on that buy side, right? Now they just retested again, and they still failed to make a higher high. Okay, so here we go again. Now up in here, if we're going to look for that breakout up in 90, this be careful here, because what we need to see is the buyers here above this little swing up in here. We want to see them at 85.5. Right, they're there. Okay, now let's see if we can. I don't like the bid here, but yeah, I'm looking to see if they can break it on up into 89 and 90 now. Okay, just based on the transactions, not the heat map. Okay, I really got to see the bid in here follow through on that for something higher probability. Else this will be, again, a false breakout, right? Wow, okay, it's 20% in here are using icebergs, according to the poll. That's a lot higher than I anticipated. I mean, you know, there's services out there like that you can get. You can be co-located, and even platforms offer it. All right, guys. So we went through the scenario in here, and this played out just beautifully up into 90. You know, but you know, again, like this is these kinds of trades in here, although it like we got to read the order flow and go through it. You know, we didn't have all the pieces of the puzzle here. Okay, we want to see the bid in here as well, and it really hits us over the head, right? This is pretty good now. It's looking better and better, but yeah, I would miss this here. And Milton, there you go. We've got that context yet again here. Okay, with stops and icebergs, pretty good insight. Okay, now that insight though, remember, this is what we talked about. That insight has to, first order flow has to align. Then we can, you know, look at that story of stops and icebergs in here. All right, so this we've seen this now 3 times today. Okay, and they've all played out. And that's a nice edge. And again, something that I think most of the traders really appreciate about stops and icebergs in Bookmap here is just it's a very, very objective thing. It's just showing you stops and icebergs, putting it into it's understanding though the details in the order flow, the order types that are actually transacting. POC moved up. Okay, Joe, thank you. Again, POC, technical term. Guys, what does it mean? It just means the most traded level. There's all sorts of things. You look up POC and strategies and whatever, or VWAP and strategies. Just understand, take, for example, let's just take, for example, this move in here, these moves. Okay, where is the most volume trading within this area here? It's right here. Okay, look at our profile, 91. All right, so that means value in essence, that most traders kind of agree that that's a pretty good price. Okay, exploration of the value areas would be down here at 85. Can it trade down here? Can it trade to a previous value, high value area down in here? Well, it's not. It's exploring higher. All right, so now up here, this is why we look for the scenario. What are we looking for up here? For it to break this value up in here, some of these traders up in here to break away from, or break to be worth more, because a lot of traders don't necessarily think this is worth more here. Okay, they think it's worth something here at 92 and then also at this 91. So what are we looking for up here? All right, this is, and then now we can start to even put together and piece together some of our trading plans. Good morning, everybody. I'm sorry, Discord guys, I'm just getting to some of your things here. Razor, you can't afford the actual order type. McLoco, good morning. Next poll, are you telling the truth? Yeah, that is funny. Slow down. That's what I kind of thought too, is like the 20% that's using icebergs, like, yeah, I don't know about you guys, but maybe I would be surprised. Scott Bolsini is rubbing off on me. Yeah, I know. I've been on quite a rant this morning. Too much torque. Good morning, JC. All right, well, anyway, guys, like we were talking about what some of these things mean, and then we can use them on all types of time frames too, but once we understand, only once we understand what they mean. Okay, like I said, these are so fractal, these markets, and they do operate in the same ways. JP Morgan's watching YouTube. Yeah, maybe confuse icebergs with limit orders. Yeah, maybe, Brett, that's possible. Why would a retail trader use icebergs? Well, let's say you have 100 lot that you want to trade. There's accounts out there of retail traders that are just enormous, and they're like high level traders. Yeah, they why wouldn't they want to use an iceberg? I mean, if you've got a couple of million in your account and you're trading like 100 lots or 20 lots or 10 lots, whatever it is, you may want to use an iceberg. I mean, it's all about the fill, right? So I mean, you want the best fill you can get. And that would provide an edge. All right, guys. Well, anyway, like even POC. Let's see who brought it up here. Oh, Joe did. Okay, yeah. Forex student, how can you get Bookmap? Go to bookmap.com. You'll see under pricing the different versions, and you know, should give. There's a comparison chart down below. There's a link to click on. All right, guys, we're starting to see more interest up here by the buyers, right? So let's see. I want to see them pull away from this area. If we're going to talk about volume profiles and POCs, etc., this is where we need to see that buying interest up here at 95 or 94. Not just here. That's just not enough, right? This is where we want to see it up here. Okay, and how to maybe even anticipate that was when you start to see structure in here, like made a higher high here, made a higher low here, but I would love to see less selling here. And then look at the buying here. Now it's still, the buying's up here. I want to see it here, 94. Okay, and then if I see it here, I'm looking for them to try to break out up into 3,700. Okay, but right now we're still within this range in here of all of this price action, and this is just it's synonymous with some of the things we've been talking about. Who's in control in certain areas? Okay, where buyers are in control in here. Okay, and then these little areas we see some selling coming in, but up here now we can upend those sellers if we can get back up above here. Okay, and then we got to get our buyers up here. Okay, 94. We get our buyers up at 94. I'm looking for let's look at a measured move. Okay, so from here on up to here, and let's edit that, and let's see if we can up into the figure or maybe a little bit higher here. Okay, so now see how that kept us away from this so far, because we weren't getting what we wanted here. Okay, if we did get what we wanted, we'd be looking for this up into 01 or 3,700. Okay, we're back in the range here. All right, so this is like enticing. It's advertising, and it's failing to make it in here. Although we had a few ideas of why it might, why it might work. The structure. Some of the selling in here, getting above them and upending them and seeing a stop run to the upside up into the figure here at 3,700. Okay, and but we didn't see all the pieces here, so we just we shied away from that. Okay, we got to get the buying up here, right? Buying in here is good, that helps, but it's up here is where we need it. Okay, let's see. Oh boy, answered your question. A few market makers are in the room. Yeah, exactly. Oh, guys, look at this. Okay, that's the stop run there, a beauty. It's actually not as big as I thought it was. Let's take a look at it. It's this could be just well, let's see, from 2800 down to, so it's, yeah, it's 146. I'll see how it just says 39 in here though. Here's why. I just want to show you guys that on our on chart here. I have this filter on right here. Okay, it's at 33. It's going to, anything less than 33 it will not show. If I take that off here, we should see it. Yeah, hold on a minute. Did I do that right? Oh, it's still at 33. That's why. Okay. Okay. There we go. Oops. Did it again. All right, never mind. Let's try that. All right. Okay, so now we see it. 100, 139, or 138. Okay, and there we go, right in there. All right, so just make sure you know what you're looking at with your filters. Okay, this one here is not filtered on the in the subchart. Okay, but I really like the filter here, but note that that's why you're only seeing 39 there. Yikes, and we missed this one. Okay, so yeah, pity. Anyway, Milton, same idea. Look at that context in here. Buyers back up above it. Look for the top of the range first, and then we're back up to our 94, right? And this is where here at 94, let's look at it. Okay, here we want to see buying up here at our 94 level here. Okay, for the move up into the figure. Okay, well, yeah, now we're starting to see it here. I'm still looking for it. Basically it kind of broke out and it came back and retested here, but I'm still looking for it. Okay, so here we go. Let's see if we can get our buyers in here at 97 and then try to hit the figure here. Okay, it's kind of struggling. Well, it's within these areas here, like our balance areas, initial balance areas. Same concept, right? And here's the pullback too, where that flag pattern kind of broke out, pulled back, broke out. Okay, we want to see exhaustion here. The bid strong, come back up to the top of the range, if we can get that. And then more buying up here, up into 3,700. Okay, still pretty dark under here on the bid, so we don't really have all the pieces still. Oh, sure. Oh boy, you want to take a look at the candlestick chart for the downtrends, uptrends, etc. Yeah, sure. Guys, this is where it can be really tricky in here. You know, we got our European close coming up, so we got players doing different things in here. But you know, even though we're below and you see that selling coming in here, these buyers, you know, this is where they took control of that market, right? So we're basically within that range right now. Okay, at here and up here. Okay, we can probably get rid of this one. Okay, so some of these moves in here, sometimes they can be just beautiful. Now look for it in here. They can be very tricky, but look for the order flow in here to support it, like these little nooks in here, higher highs, higher lows, etc. And then you can look for the move back up to the top of the range, and then the potential for the breakout as well. Okay, so what we see in here, well, yeah, I mean, a smaller trade would be up into here, and then up in here you're looking for it to trade back up into point of control of this little range in here, and then maybe through it to the top of the range. Now we have the potential for the move higher, okay, into 3,700. Okay, does that make sense? This is the control here, this is the pullback here. Then we're kind of really looking in here for those buyers to come back in and then do exactly this. Okay, back to the figure here. Okay, so, and a stop run into that as well. Okay, makes sense. Does that make sense, guys? I mean, we're doing the same thing again. We went through the control in here. Guys, if you like this stuff, please subscribe to the channel. And give us a thumbs up. Like the video. We want to provide very high quality education for you, and we want to get an understanding of what it is you're looking for, and to support it here. Why do icebergs go up? I don't understand, Rare, the question there. Sometimes the icebergs move. There's a live one right now, 223 transacted right here. It's still in the market. We know that. In fact, these guys have been in the market for a long time. It looks like they just transacted a little bit there, but they were in the market way over here. Okay, and they're just waiting to get filled. Like this guy in here too. He was in here, transacted 122. And then he was fully transacted here, executed for 470. You love the polls. Okay. All right. So supposedly 27% of the people, I'm going to end the poll here. 27% of the people say that they use icebergs. All right. We might have to do a second poll. Were you lying on the first poll? I like that idea, but anyway, yeah, that's the data we got. Why do icebergs go up? Well, this is cumulative volume delta in here on icebergs. So if it's a sell iceberg, it'll be a negative value. These are sell icebergs in here. They're on the offer, getting filled, and their position is what we're counting in here. So their position is short. These 470 that executed, their position is short. This other 105 that transacted here, their position is short. This guy down here, he's below price. His position is long. He's in here trying to get filled too, right? Still in the current market. He's got 50 on so far. And we don't know, this is where the hidden part, we don't know what's behind it. We don't know if this is 2,000, 5,000, 225, 224. We don't know. And sometimes these, I think answering the question, Asante, sometimes these are moving. Yeah, they'll move them. They might not stay here at this price level. They may chase. They may even pull it away and add down here, and front run high liquidity down here, something like that. All right, so let's see. Oh boy, wanted a request to look at this higher time frame. Well, here's what's unfolded. Okay, pretty choppy, as you can see, and on that 15-minute chart. Now our hourly chart or 15-minute chart. On the even on the daily here, this daily candle here, we saw some strong buying coming in, but then we started to look for, I'm sorry, in here, look for some profit taking due to this up in here on the 15-minute chart. Okay, we got that one. We saw the sellers roll in, then we're looking for them to take control on the smaller time frame, and we were looking for the move back down to about 86 here. They went a bit lower, but look at the buying tails down here. Okay, so now we're coming up and retesting this 3700. All right, buyers, let's see if can you get to 05 then. Okay, on this chart I'd be looking for 05 for these buyers. Pretty strong buying by looking at this 15-minute chart. This would be the other level, 08 right here, just by looking at the candles here. Okay, now Bookmap's looking great. Okay, back to 10. So that was really nice suggestion to take a look at that higher time frame. Okay, because we can look for the order flow event to unfold in that direction. Once we start to see that on the higher time frame, those are the scenarios we're going through. Okay, and mark again up who's in control. Okay, now look at this example here of who's in control. Okay, we came up with this one here, strong buying. We talked about this pullback, but we still talked about this as being the one that's in control. And we can look for that buying again at the top edge here to trade up into 3700. We got it. Okay, and now, and we got a pullback, and we still be looking for it up here. By going through the scenarios in these higher time frames in here. Okay, so now look what it did. Okay, it actually went above our little swing in here above 08, not by much. It came up to about 10. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, a little shy of 10. No, it looks like 10 transacted. 69 contracts or so. Oh boy, good point. Maybe the poll was unclear. Yes. Do you use icebergs for like we are here? I should have said, do you use iceberg orders for transacting? Yeah. All right, I'll throw another one in there really quickly. So we'll get down to the bottom of this here. Even more specific, transacting your orders, yes or no. All right. All right, guys, have at it. Let's cover. I mean, this has been a pretty nice day. Usually, to be honest, Fridays are I find kind of challenging. And this is option expiration as well. It should be even more challenging. We read things pretty nicely here today. Very simple stuff. And you can see we're working on all time frames, very small time frames, medium time frames, and higher time frames. Okay, now one thing I wanted to cover in here is something I think oh boy was requesting, looking at the higher time frame. Look at some of these areas in here. When you see like maybe an hourly chart and you see a strong candle, and then maybe the in on the lower time frames it is slowing down, but this is still a strong candle on the hourly. Well, look for strength in the order flow to continue that strong move on that hourly chart. Right now you're aligning your higher time frame with your lower time frame, and you can look for pullbacks and then continuation patterns. This is utilizing those time frames and fractal natures of these markets by understanding the order flow. The order flow on the higher time frame, it has strong momentum. There's a lot of buyers, more buyers than sellers, moving that market higher. Then we get a pullback on the smaller time frame. Then we look for, well, for example, maybe buying at the top edge here, or exhaustion down here traded up to the top edge, and then continuation. That's another thing to take a look at here and consider. So those higher time frames, aligning these time frames together via the order flow for something that is a higher probability. Okay, all right, we got 20 now voting for the question here in the poll. Do you use iceberg orders for transacting your orders? Okay, very specific. 20 said, and it's 100% no. Oh, thanks, JC. Thank you, Bay C 1000. I'm glad you guys find these of value here. Yeah, we do it 3 days a week. We have all sorts of education. So after this webinar, or he's already started, we have Tom B, who's a volume profile trader. Okay, so you can follow up and follow, continue on with volume profile. Okay, then we're bringing more and more people on. We have all sorts. We have Rain in the morning, who's a crypto trader, and he's going through Bitcoin and other crypto instruments. Is at 8:30 East Coast time for an hour, 8:30 to 9:30. So all sorts of stuff happening over here. It's in come to our Discord channel. You'll probably get a lot out of that, and then all the various trading. I mean, you'll see it again and again, and then also here in YouTube as well. Okay, so yeah, thanks guys. Really appreciate the kind words in here. That's really motivating to continue to offer these what we think is quality education. Diego, what are my expectations for Bitcoin? I really don't know what to tell you. I've kind of held off pondering that one a bit. We can take a look at the Bitcoin futures here, yeah, well guys, here's the same idea here. Look at we have the 306,100,000. These are liquidations here. This is like a stop run. It's even worse. And then look at the same concepts we just covered about if that's a stop run or liquidation in this case. Look, see the buyers come in here at this kind of top edge right here. Look for them to trade right back to it here, and then maybe they can get back up above it and get some buying back up into these areas here. So our pivot line is here at 18,900, and it traded up into and through 19,000. So I don't really know what to tell you. I mean, it's below 20 grand right now, and it's been chopping around quite a bit. Maybe the game is over. Maybe there's a lot of crypto traders have gone home. Don't know. Maybe they're not trading anymore. Then it's going to be chopping around in here for quite a while. Maybe maybe it was a fad. Maybe they come back in. If something happens to a currency, I don't know if you guys remember the euro. God, what year was it? It was like 2012 or 10 or something. And the euro, they froze the euro in Cyprus, and you couldn't get money out. So Bitcoin was all the rage. That's how people could get, transact and get money out. It was via Bitcoin. So maybe we see some event like that unfolds. Okay? So keep your eyes open and see if something like that, may bolster some Bitcoin. Look at other governments' reactions to it. Maybe they ban Bitcoin. They're afraid of it, like China. Okay. All right, so we got 9% that are using iceberg orders to transact. All right, guys, we'll end that one too. Yeah, thanks for hitting the like button there. Coming to the webinar, guys. Let's see a nuance between order flow and Tom B as a volume profile trader. Well, no, I mean, Tom's looking at Bookmap and the order flow as well, but he's within the structure of using volume profile. Okay, that's his higher time frame structure. Okay, so he's looking at things like this in the profile, and he knows the transactions like here have taken place within this area. Okay, I'm looking at it here in the vertical, not the horizontal, and looking at who's taking control in some of those areas, and then he's looking at profiles in here, and then he's gaining insight by how much is transacted in here and where it is more likely to go. So a lot of times he'll talk about like it's coming up to the top edge up in here, and it's in the auction process, it's a little too high. People aren't finding value out of it. Then you see the buying starting to, maybe sellers on the offer up here. Maybe you see a lot on the offer getting filled. Maybe you start to see a lack of buyers. It exhausts out. You start to see sellers roll in. Well, what are they going to do? They're going to trade it down to value where it can transact. They're getting a discount here. It's too high. So they'll trade it back down into here. Same concepts we've been going over too in order flow, and it's all an auction. Okay, we're going over more kind of market mechanics and binary levels of understanding what these things are. We can go back down to our education does. We go back and we start at the bid and the offer and the transactions, and the who's taking the transaction, okay, who's providing liquidity, and we look at this. This is a range right now. Well, if we get buyers at the top edge though, and we have a lack of sellers down here, I'd be looking for them to take it up into some of this liquidity here. Okay, just like that, right? So here's again more. Well, they should be able to hit it up here, right? Understanding this will allow you to understand this, which will allow you to understand, this big move here, which can be all extrapolated to understand like this here on the 15-minute chart, or on the hourly or daily, some of this, okay? Or the opposite would be the sellers in control in these areas here, okay? So it is the exact same stuff. All right, so anyway, guys, let's let me see. James, you got a question here. Oh, learning a lot from these sessions. We're going to get more and deeper and deeper into it. So James, you can apply this to anything, and we'll talk about trade management, etc., so that you can apply it to anything in here. All right, Anna, I hope I answered your question there. It's a different way of looking at the trading activity, basically. All right. So, all right, guys, thanks for coming, everybody. Please subscribe and come into our Discord room. Lots going on in there. New streamers starting to come in. I think you guys are going to be very interested in some of this. So we'll see you in there, I hope. Go to our website and just you'll see a link to Discord right there. Okay. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch up on Monday. Take care.